So it's quite common for plasterers to get eye injuries, and the reason that happens, typically we'll be skimming a ceiling, plaster will fall down, hit us straight in the old apple pie here. So how do we avoid that happening? In this video today, I'm going to show you a couple of simple techniques when you're skimming ceilings to make sure you never get any plaster landing in your eye. I want to talk about correct technique when you're skimming ceilings. So I was watching a YouTube video last night, and I noticed that on this video, the plasterer had his apprentice skimming a small ceiling section. And I noticed there was two things wrong. The first thing that was wrong is he was too far away from the ceiling. I've done previous videos on this before, using the stilts and stuff like that. But there's a couple of reasons why it's quite dangerous when you're too far away from the ceiling. First thing is, if you're working like this, your arm's fully stretched, you're overstretching to reach the ceiling, guys, and that's going to cause some trapezius damage here. It's going to knack your shoulders up. But the second reason is, if you're overstretching like this, then you're at high risk of plaster building up on the back of your trowel like this, which tends to happen when you've been laying on for a bit. So the plaster will build up on the back of your trowel and you're directly underneath, and you're at risk of a direct hit. So we want to avoid that, obviously. The correct distance from the ceiling, guys, is about hand's width, as you can see here. Thumb on top of your head, little finger should be touching the ceiling on an open palm like that. Okay, that's the ideal sort of distance. And again, the reason for that is you're not overstretching. So you can see here, my arm is got a slight bend to it. I'm not stretched. It's not sort of I'm not sort of overstretching my arm, fully extending my arm, which is going to cause some strain on the shoulder and also the elbow. So you want to be sort of this position when you're laying on. And to avoid the eye injury, the correct way of laying on, the way I was shown and I believe is the correct way, there's two ways of doing it, guys. One is by laying on in front of you and making sure that when you're moving back, you're always around a sort of foot away from the trowel. So when you're laying on, it's a bit hard, the camera angle's not great here, just move back a little bit. So for example, if I'm going to be laying on in front of me like that and I'm working back, I'll move back with the trowel, so I'll be moving back. And that way your face is always away from from that build up on the back of the trowel. If it does happen to drop off and fall, at least it will land on maybe your clothes but not on your face, and keeps it away from your eyes. So moving back away, keeping the trowel in front of you at all times like this. Never be underneath like that ever, because then of course not only you're going to have a sort of a creep neck and you're overstretching the shoulder, but you're also at risk of it plaster going in your eyes. But the second way of doing it, and which I prefer, is just keeping slightly to the side when you're laying on like this. So rather than being in front of it, I'll be slightly to the side and I'll be laying on like this. And that way, I'm well away from, not only is it comfortable and I'm not overstretching, but I'm well away from anything that's going to be falling down. Just to demonstrate again, guys, you're going to be working in front of you, you'd be working back as you're pulling back and laying on. You'd also be moving your body backwards at the same time like this. So that you wouldn't be doing this, working above your face. So you'd be slightly to the side, moving back. So the trowel is well out of the way of my face. And then again, stepping to the side slightly is another nice comfortable way of doing it. So you step slightly to the side and you'd be laying on like this. If it does build up, if the plaster does build up and wants to fall off like it is there, that's what you've got to watch, guys. If it does build up, then obviously you're not right underneath it. See if a little bit just dropped there. My face was well out of the way. Again, when you are, when you are troweling up and flattening off, sort of moving around the ceiling, again, you're just keeping that correct distance between the end of your trowel and your face. So roughly, I'd say, want to be around a foot at all times. So if you're flattening off, working around the ceiling, just keep an eye on the corner of your trowel all the time, making sure that it's not coming here too close, because again, you can see that build up, just starting to build up on the end of the trowel there, and that's what catches us out, is that build up. I hope these tips have helped you today. If you're a plasterer watching this, guys, you might want to consider subscribing to the channel, and also join our Facebook group where we do podcasts, tool giveaways and much more. There'll be a link in the description. Thanks for watching.